This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Afternoon and welcome to andBeyond in Ngala, where I am sitting with an incredible scene. I've got a massive elephant bull behind the thickets on the riverbank, and just in front, two of the Birmingham lionesses. And they are watching this elephant and keeping a lookout because I am currently at the den site of this lioness that is facing towards me. And we think her cubs are hidden in that thicket where that elephant is at the moment. Absolutely incredible to be here this afternoon. So it's definitely a nice cool afternoon, and I'm going to be spending as much time as I can here with these Birmingham lionesses. It is an absolute honor to have you on safari this afternoon. Welcome aboard your live safari in the African bush. What an absolutely beautiful time to be in the riverbed with these two lionesses. I was looking for them this morning. Unfortunately, the weather got in the way, and so now I actually get to appreciate sitting here. And you can see how carefully the mother is watching where that elephant is and then turning to make sure of anything else that might be coming from the other side. My name is TESSA. I'm going to be your guide here this afternoon at andBeyond in Ngala. Behind the camera we have Owen, and we are definitely planning on soaking up as much of these lionesses as we can. So they're actually facing in different directions at the moment because they want to have as much exposure to both sides as they can, and that bush there is where we think the little cubs are hiding. It is nice and overcast, it's windy, it's cool, and we might have some more rain coming. And so I think it's going to be an interesting afternoon on the predators. Please remember, if you're under the age of 18, you can pop us your questions via email at kidsquestions@wildearth.tv, or you can register on the WildEarth website. Head over to the live safari page and you can submit your questions there. We would absolutely love to hear from you this afternoon. She is one of the most beautiful lionesses. You can see they're actually nice and cool. They're not panting, they're lying on the cold sand. Linda, absolutely the best way to start a cat a day off, with a bang of Birmingham lionesses. I love it. Cat a day should be every day. So I'm really hoping that while I'm sitting here with these two lionesses looking so alert, and with that elephant having moved through, that possibly, there you can see the elephant's actually walking off to our right there. Elephant hasn't actually noticed them, to be honest. It's not bothered by them. But the lionesses have been watching the elephant. And I'm hoping that because it is moving through, and because both lionesses are awake, that we might actually get some action from the den site with those three tiny cubs. And the mum is looking very alert this afternoon. And it's amazing how instinctually those cubs know that as soon as they hear an elephant or any other animal around, they need to stay quiet, they need to stay still, and they need to make sure that they're not noticed. If there had been a reaction from the lionesses, if it had been any other animal, it might have piqued their interest. And so they might have actually gone looking to see why the lioness was being protective. So by relaxing like this and just keeping an eye from a distance, she's actually doing the perfect thing to keep those cubs hidden and safe. I don't think that elephant even knew there are cubs in the thicket he was feeding on. And another one's come out. Oh my goodness. This is absolutely beautiful. 2 of the big 5 to start my afternoon. I'm very happy. I'm going to definitely stick around here and hopefully I can show you some more of these Birmingham lionesses later. But for now, let's have a look at what the weather is doing this afternoon.
Well, Tess, I'm also really excited this afternoon because not only we do have beautiful ominous clouds in the distance, but I've also stumbled across my favorite herd of elephants. And there is Susan walking straight towards us, which should be quite interesting. I have no doubt that she's going to come right on over to say hello. It has been a little while since I've been on Prrivate, which is where we are driving this afternoon. So it's nice that we've just come across the herd, just like that. My name is MCCURDY, and on camera with me today is Gert. And like I said, we're here at Prrivate Conservancy, which is part of Tswalu Game Reserve and the Greater Kruger National Park. Now, we basically just left HQ, which is where we keep all of our equipment and park our vehicle. And the elephants were waiting for us outside. Now, I haven't been here for a while, because I think the last time that I was at Prrivate was weeks ago, in fact. Then I went on holiday and then I came back to work, but I was at some of the other eco training camps and now I'm back here. So I haven't seen this herd for some time, and there's a new little elephant. I'm not sure if you've seen it just yet. It's just hiding away in the bushes, but I'm hoping that as we sit here and just watch from a little bit of a distance, that we'll get a view. But we did point out quite a few times that there's 2 cows in this herd that were heavily pregnant, and it's nice to see that one of the older cows, in fact I think it might be the matriarch, that has had a little one, which is very exciting. But they should come towards us soon. Hi Susan. So I'm just watching, of course, my favorite elephant because she's quite naughty. But let's see, maybe she's going to ignore us today. Do you like having a new elephant in the herd? Are you even more protective than you usually are? If you don't know who this elephant is, don't worry, you'll get to know her. She'll come over and introduce herself in a minute, but she's become quite a character amongst the different animals at Prrivate, if not a firm favorite. And she loves looking after the younger elephants. She is a great aunt, so I suspect that she is going to be playing around with that younger calf once it's old enough to sort of leave mom's side, because at the moment you can't really see it. It's literally just walking underneath mom's belly. Susan, have you just come out this way to say hello? The rest of the herd is really feeding in a different direction, straight into a drainage system, but she's come out into this nice area to graze. She's not really paying us much attention at the moment. She's watching us. Oh, there she goes. I'm just going to move that log out of the way. You see she does that quite gracefully, not throwing the tree around this afternoon, trying to get all the grass from underneath. Normally that's something we see them do in the drier months. You know, here at the moment you can see there's lots of lovely lush green grass all around. But I suppose there must be some tastier grasses growing under there. Hello, girl. Her whole demeanor is so much more peaceful. It's really nice. You can see she's not too far away from the car now. She's probably about, how far would you say? 10 meters? 5. Gert says 5 meters. I'm not very good at maths and guessing distances. It's obviously a bit of an optical illusion with a car. But she's a fair distance away, but she's no stranger to the vehicle. She does, a lot of the elephants in the Greater Kruger are quite relaxed and do spend quite a bit of time. You get quite an intimate experience with the elephants here, and particularly with this herd too. Hello. Not going to come and say hello. Just very delicately feeding. This is lovely though. Yes, Janet, it is exceptionally exciting to have a new elephant on the scene. I can't wait until Mum is a bit more comfortable with the vehicles and us viewing it, because she seems to be keeping it out of our view for the moment, sticking to the tall grass and heading into the Tamboti thicket. But that's okay. It's just nice to know that the herd is on the property, so we'll try and, well, as you know, I love to just spend all day, every day with elephants, and particularly this herd, so I'm quite happy to just try and find them all the time and eventually get a view of the little one. It's tiny, it doesn't look very old. I definitely didn't see it the last time I was here, so it must be close to, or at least over 2 or 3 weeks now. We'll have a look when it does come out into open and have a proper look. I just saw it was standing in the shade with Mum. They were all having a siesta not too long ago. Here's one of the other older calves, just walking behind her. She's got a bit of sand on her head. Hello, girl. I'm just because she does a little bit earlier. Some of them are a bit grumpy, but it might be because of the wind. Right. Elephants galore here at Pridelands. We're going to spend a bit more time with Susan. Off you go across back to Djuma to say good afternoon to Steve.
Thank you, TAYLA. Nice to have you back. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Prrivate Game Reserve in the northern Sabi sands, where the rain has abated for now. Although only temporarily, I would assume. We've still got our rain roofs on, and we found ourselves a beautiful male elephant busy feeding. I've been singing a little elephant song to him. And hello, everybody. My name is Steve. I'm joined by Mbo on camera, and we are blessed to have you with us this afternoon, where we are dry. How wonderful is that? We are prepared for the rain in all manner and form, but we're coming up to Prrivate to see what we can find. Beautiful elephant there. There are lots of elephants around at the moment, as Taylor said, and this morning we didn't see a single elephant. Not one. The rain sort of just closes in on everything. Saw lots of elephants on the dam cam last night. And that's also a reason why we don't see them. He's going to come out in the gap in a moment. That's the rain roof pole, everybody, that you can see. And that is an elephant. I'm just going to check a few of the favourite watering holes in Prrivate. Head up towards Kyamanzi and Big Dam. See what's happening up that side of the world. It's been a few days since we've been up in the north. You never know what might come in. Okay, well, I'm not the only one who's happy that the sun is shining. Lauren Arthur is out and about, and she's dying to wish you good afternoon.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to a dry Djuma. Very happy the sun is shining. Now, I'm not sure if we have a rhino beetle here. I actually don't know. My name is Lauren. I do have Davi on camera, and as you take a little look at this beetle, you can see it's got a semi-horn. I don't know if it's possibly a juvenile. The horn is not as big as what it would look like on a rhino beetle, but there's definitely a protrusion there. Help me out, guys. #WildEarth. Rhino beetles are basically a subfamily of scarab beetles anyway, but the dung beetles generally don't have this protrusion here, and you see that. But anyway, I've got a bigger and better surprise, y'all. Look where we are, and look who is out. We have Ntima and Baba, we have Braveheart, and we have Navella. It gives me great pleasure to introduce their new names, and they're right here. So guys, what do you think of your names? Not overly enthused. Well, I think they are great. I've missed these guys very, very much. It's been so wet and so windy and really impossible to sort of get out and spend time with them. But here they are. Hello, Novella. Yes, everybody chose that name for you. Isn't it pretty? Braveheart because she's got the bravest of hearts, and Novella means adore. Thank you everyone who voted. My assistant Wally and I are very grateful. But in all seriousness, it's really good to be back at the den. And Tima's here. I didn't expect any less. I don't see any other adults. But I really do believe if we just sit here, the den's going to get busier and busier. And FC will let me know about this beetle. He's actually on the move. You can get a beautiful view of his underside. That's the elytra on top on Mr. Beetle. The elytra are what protects the wings. And then underneath you can see he's actually got hairs. Insects are not, oh dear, on my hand. Insects are not completely hairless. And he's obviously ready to go and explore. So I think I'm not sure where to put him because we've got some very hungry jaws over here. Let him go on. Oh, I will let him wander on his own. Susie, that's the funniest comment I've heard all day. Even Braveheart loves it. Okay, thank you so much. The species is a dehorned rhino beetle. That made me chuckle. Oh, someone else is awake, Davy, you see? Another sleepyhead. Yes, it is a dehorned rhino beetle. I don't know why I didn't think of that. Oh, everybody's waking up. I think slowly but surely all the cubs are going to come out. And hopefully we'll get another look at Tima's little Bubba, who's growing so fast. I mean, look at Novella, a.k.a. Junebug. And Tima always looks like she's smiling these days. She's a little bit nervous at the den. She always looks like she's smiling. She's happy. Exhausted, but happy. So my plan really is to try and stay here for as long as I can, for as long as the hyenas will allow, aka they're still an adult, and as long as the weather allows for now. Kate, my goodness, this is a tricky one. I am about to release some ID kits on my Instagram page, which I'll happily send to you all if you do wish. However, with the cubs, really, I'm going to be completely honest with you. Hearts 2, Gingarika and Pumela, and Ngwazi and Shimbulu, Ribbons 2, I actually need to see them together before I can immediately identify them. Now, it's going to be a lot more helpful when they're all actually out and we can point them out. But Ngwazi and Shimbulu, Ribbons boys, are of course the largest of them all. They're the tallest. And I personally feel that Shimbulu is a little bit shaggier, if that makes sense. His coat is a lot more hairier and fluffier, and he's darker in the face. And with Gingarika and Pumela, there's a really easy way to tell the difference between the two. Because Gingarika, the female, she actually has a slice taken out of her right ear. So you just need to look at their ears. Pumela's are perfect. Gingarika, she has a cut right in the middle, a really straight cut on her right ear. So I know it's not the spot pattern, as you asked, but that's a really easy way. Then, of course, at this stage, Novella's the smallest. Let's just forget Tima's little one because it's not really mobile right now. But Novella's the smallest and the darkest. And then, of course, Braveheart, Corky's daughter, she's at that really awkward stage right now where her legs are not really fitting the body, and she's also very dark in the face. So I know that probably didn't entirely help, but I am going to release some ID kits. I'm working on them as we speak. But what I realized is that I don't have any photos of Pumela. I don't know how. I have photos of all the other cubs, but I'm missing Pumela. So I'm actually going to try and get one today, and then I'll issue the ID kits. But it's difficult, and I even find it difficult. get into my space. Okay, so Darby and I are going to sit here and enjoy this moment a little while longer.
Do you dream of traveling to a far-flung wilderness location where life continues as normal? A place where you can escape to nature and breathe. If you become a WildEarth explorer, then this could soon become a reality. Subscribe today and stand a chance to win regular travel prizes. WildEarth Explorers, it's in your nature.
Sometimes love wants to make you sing. And sometimes love wants to make you bow and fan your wings to your bow. For the southern yellow-billed hornbill, these are signs that love is in the air. These birds are destined for a season of monogamy at least. Breeding pairs are in it for the survival of their chicks. But before love commences, the male needs to woo his valentine with food in the form of nuptial gifts.
I'm Nikki here at andBeyond in Ngala in South Africa. I love getting questions from viewers about all the small things within the environment and how it all is integrated with one another. If you want to ask me any questions, please simply register with the WildEarth website, head across to the live safari page and then post your questions there. I'm looking forward to chatting to you on my next WildEarth drive.
Guys, have a look at what we've got. This is better than my birthday. Look at that. This is the first time that I ever see cubs this small. This is so special. This has officially just become my best sighting of all times.
Tune into WildEarth every single day. It's in your nature.
Hi, I'm Kyle, and I come to you live every day here from Tswalu Kalahari in South Africa. My favorite animal in the Kalahari has to be the aardvark. Its unique appearance, its ethology, and as well as ecology within this vast ecosystem is amazing, and something that I have been really lucky to experience on foot here at Tswalu.
Catch up with the guides daily here on WildEarth.
Well, you've just joined us at the most perfect moment because there is the tiny little elephant calf that we've been telling you about all afternoon. Well, not all afternoon, but literally just a moment ago. Oh, we found some water. Look how cute it is. That is such a small little elephant. It's got so many wrinkles on its head and now it has plopped it down into a puddle. But that is a lovely little swimming pool for a small elephant like that. Absolutely loving it. Look at that. Its face is now completely covered in mud. I'm just watching all the elephants around me, but look how tiny it is. So I don't think it's very old. I'm just trying to think when I was sort of last here. I mean, it must be 2 weeks old, maybe a bit older than that. I think between 2 and 3 weeks. Sorry. Hello, girl. Where are you going to eat? There's just one elephant here, this cow. And you know, sometimes you just get a feeling. Hello, girl. So I'm just going to watch her very quickly. She's quite happy. She's feeding. Hey, but you've got little ones. Why don't I recognize you? There's a couple of elephants here that I feel like I'm not 100% certain that I've seen or that are actually a part of this herd. Oh, no, not everyone's coming this way. I'm still just going to watch. I'm probably going to start the car. I think I'm going to do that quickly and jump out of everyone's way. Hey, Gil, I'm going to go back. I'm going to go past you. So all I'm doing now is just because we've got this cow in front of us with the tiny baby coming towards us, I want to make sure that I give them space. I don't want to cram in between elephants when there's a tiny little calf like that. I feel like it's maybe asking for trouble. So we'll just go back a bit. There we go. And then they can have freedom to move around. But there was no aggressive behavior from those elephants. I just like to be considerate and try and avoid a situation before something goes pear-shaped. But we'll watch them again. At least we got a quick sneak peek of that little calf. There's Susan again. She tried to push that tree over at us when we reversed. I don't know if you saw it or heard it. Are you going to push it off anyways? I think she wants to break it. You can see also there's some bark missing on that tree, so whether Susan has just done that, whether she's just stripped the bark with her tusks and then pulled it with her trunk. Let's see, yeah, that's definitely her. You can see how she's actually trying to loosen the bark. So this is a really awesome thing to see because you don't get to see it all the time. Is that elephants obviously don't just pull bark off of the tree. That outer bark is really, really tough and there for protection. And that's not really the nutritious flavor, but this is quite a young tree, so it doesn't take much for her to use her tusk and sort of just gore it slightly. And there we go, she's just taken a few bits off. She hasn't completely ring barked it. There is still a section of that tree, so it should survive. The nutrients will still be able to flow from the roots up to the leaves. She came over to the car too. Just as we sent you over to Steve, she came right over and then she stood next to us for ages. And she was feeding, which was quite sweet. So let's see if she comes back around again. She's very well behaved, no aggressive behavior, but now that I say that, she's obviously going to put on a show. Yeah, Susan. I'm just watching her, and with Susan you have to, my head will probably pop in screen, you have to sit up and you watch her, because she's a naughty child. If you don't tell her no, she will try. Yeah, I'm talking about you. I'm telling everybody what bad manners you have, but she's been fine today. She's not feeding on some sickle bush. Let's see, you're going to try and squeeze past this gap. You've got the whole reserve to walk in, but you have absolutely no concept of personal space. When it's an elephant, sure. And Gert and I were just discussing now that she's actually starting to fill out quite a bit. Like, she's not looking so petite anymore. Dare I say she's looking chunky, but you know, for an elephant, that's actually a compliment. That's a great thing to say to an elephant. She's healthy, she's growing. She actually looks like she's grown a fair amount. And she's also getting quite wide, so haven't seen any development of the mammary glands just yet, so I don't think that there is a calf just yet, but normally you'll only see them bulging like that when they're well into their pregnancy. Now she's hiding behind the trees. Unfortunately, all the elephants have gone behind the car and are still behind the car, so we won't be able to move just yet. We're going to just sit still. We'll just keep looking at the elephants in front of us. There is another one that's coming down towards us on the road. Sorry about that. Just swiveling around, keeping an eye on all the ellies. It's quite a nice scene of this one. We've got a young bull. Yeah. Looks like a young bull. Just tailing the herd. He'll probably come right over. Actually, this elephant bull and Susan spend quite a bit of time together. It's lovely. You can also hear that the wind is now picking up. And I've heard that it is raining quite a bit closer towards the Drakensberg. So we had a bit of rain earlier today, so it might come through. Wonder where these ellies will go. Surely with a little calf like that, they'll just stick to the thicker stuff. Maybe they're going to tuck themselves in a nice thicket. But the clouds are coming in quickly. And they're on the move, these ellies. Don't know what we're going to do after this, though. We're going to go exploring because most of Prrivelands is underwater at the moment, so I'd like to see that. Maybe we find some more elephants. I'm sure we will. I don't think this will be the last of the elephants for the afternoon.
Welcome back to andBeyond in Ngala. I am still sitting with the two beautiful lionesses of the Birmingham Pride. And I was actually just thinking, the one on the left looks like she has quite a large stomach. I can see one of her nipples sticking out. I wonder if she is not the pregnant lioness. Have a look at that rounded belly. And it would make sense that she is, because she is one of the younger lionesses from the Pride, the lioness with the scar on her eye. But at the same time, comparing it to the lioness on the right, which is the mum of these three cubs that are in the thicket somewhere in the background, the mum hasn't eaten. She's got a flat stomach. And if they were together and there was something killed, they would have both eaten. So I'm thinking there's a very high chance that this is one of the pregnant lionesses from the Birmingham Pride, and I wouldn't be surprised if she started separating from the rest of the Pride, maybe hanging out with this lioness, because she's getting ready to find a den site. So where I am at the moment on andBeyond and Ngala, this is traditionally one of the favorite areas of the Birmingham lionesses for their den sites. So it makes sense that Mom has moved her cubs here. And they are having such a good snooze this afternoon, a proper cat. You can see her coat is actually so beautiful and shiny. They are in excellent condition. And I'm actually very keen to try and see those little cubs, because last time they were seen, they were looking a little bit scraggly. Some of their hair was starting to fall out, so it looked like maybe they might have mange, which is quite common in predator den sites with little cubs. Oh, must be a fly bothering her. You can see the river behind is actually still flowing pretty strong. It's a strong current, and it is unbelievable to see it flowing for so long consistently. And just on the other side of the two streams, there's a little bit of a bank and then a buffalo thorn, a big green thicket behind. That is where we think the cubs are at the moment, in that bank over there. And so now it's just a patience game for myself and for Owen, hoping that these little cubs will decide to come out if Mom wakes up and starts moving back that way. There are actually tracks all over around where these two lionesses are lying. You can see there's a lot of tracks on the ground. These are all lion tracks, and those are actually the little cub tracks. So she has been bringing them out to play in the riverbed around where they have been relaxing. There you can see that quite nicely. So all around me at the moment is just lion tracks, whether it's the two lionesses or the little cubs. I think they've been here for at least a few days. But it's such a beautiful and undisturbed section of the river. So I think the reason why this lioness moved her den site is because the other one was starting to stink from a wildebeest carcass, and we were noticing quite a lot of hyena activity around there. And so, being a good mom, she's moved her den site further away to protect the little ones from those pesky hyenas that would come and investigate. But speaking of which, I'm going to send you over to Lauren with her hyenas while I enjoy the sunshine for the first time in a few days.
Pumela and Gingirika heard us talking about them, and here they are fighting as usual. And I'm going to try and show you the difference. It will change as they grow, it will change. But if we can get a good look, you will see immediately Gingirika has that tear in her ear. Pumela, oh no, we're off. We ain't staying still. Tima looks so uncomfortable. Okay, oh, we're back. Oh, that's very sweet. Oh, hello. Oh, Navella, you're not the smallest anymore, that's for sure. Now, I don't think any of them are going to stay still long enough for me to do this, but... Oh, Mummy. Dragonfly feel you. It's so good. I feel like it's been a really, really long time from, you know, the damage from the storm that affected us technically, from the weather, and just to coming here and them not being here. I'm overjoyed, and I love your name, by the way, Dragonfly. At this age, this little one, I would say, when we first found it, was possibly around the 4-week mark. I think it's coming up to the over 5, approaching 6-week mark now. And you can see here, this is Braveheart. Now, she's quite dark. And if you look at her face, she's got a very, very dark face. And that's one of the reasons that I identify her, Corky's daughter. But it really does take time, honestly. It's just because of the amount of time that we spend with these animals that we get used to it. But it's not easy. Okay, there you go. There's Ginkirika, you see? You see this one, Davi? On her right ear, there's a slice, there's a tear. Can you see that? There you go. Now, it's quite obvious once you see it, and it completely differentiates her from her brother immediately. And then things will change as they get older, but at this stage, if spot pattern's still a little bit too blurry, you can just look for that ear. Oh my goodness, everybody's waking up now. We've got the whole clan out. Shimbulu and Ngwazi are now awake. They've got pillow face. You know, they spend all day together in the den, and yet they're overjoyed to see one another. Is Shimbulu looking like a little hyena now? Oh, no. Run back to your mama, little one. Look at Novella. My goodness. This is Junebug. Oh my goodness. You're going to get in trouble, Novella. Ross, no, they don't. They don't allo suckle. In terms of allo mothering, that's a little bit of a tricky one because they will babysit. You know, as long as there's an adult at the den, like now, they will babysit, but they definitely don't allo suckle like lion prides do. And you will find sometimes examples where maybe in a slightly bigger clan, the very low rank, the lowest ranked female may allow the higher ranked cubs to suckle from her. But this is more through bullying and pressure and just having to be submissive than anything else. It's not allo suckling, but you may see examples of it. So that would be like June, for example, allowing Ngwazi and Shimbulu to suckle from her. If they were being very, very aggressive and very dominant, she may just allow it to keep the peace. But in general, they don't. So nice to see everybody. And Tima looks huge. She's definitely had a meal. Now, Novella wasn't trying to be aggressive there. It's just that's why the cubs are kept at natal dens, because the others will inevitably hurt them without meaning it. They're not trying to hurt this little cub. They just want to play. They want to exert their dominance. It's the only other cub that Novella's bigger than. So she's like, yes, I can bully this little one. You're not trying to hurt them. But that's why they're kept in a natal den before being introduced to the communal den. I'm just going to put my bum right up against Mum. She'll keep me safe. Natalie, you're 9 years old. I'm not entirely sure if you mean right now or just the cubs or everybody. So I'm going to answer them all for you, Natalie. Right now, we have 7 cubs. Different age groups from different mothers. So Ribbon has 2 boys called Ngwazi and Shimbulu. Heart has a boy and girl called Pumela and Gingirika. Corky has a daughter called Braveheart. June has a daughter called Navella, and Intima here has a little black bear. We don't even know the sex yet. So 7 cubs, and we've got 1 adult babysitting right now, and that is Intima herself, who's 4 years old now. It's her birthday month, and well, her mother's Ribbon, so she's a matriarch's daughter. But in the clan as a whole, we've got 5 adult females, and that's Ribbon, Intima, Heart, Corky, and June, in the order that we think they sit at. And then there's some other youngsters, Sutu, Swazi, and the belly. And then, of course, you've got males, immigrant males, that come and join the clan. But it's actually a really small clan, Natalie. It's not a big one, especially. There you go. There's Pumela, perfect ears. You see that? No cuts, no tears, no notches, perfect ears. But yes, the Masai Mara, the hyena clan up there, is almost 80 strong. 80 hyenas, can you imagine that? That is a very, very big clan. But this is a small clan, so the dynamics are quite easy to keep track of. Out of all the cubs, from my personal observations, I do feel that Ngwazi and Shimbulu are very gentle boys. Considering they're the matriarch's sons, they're the highest ranked of all the cubs. They are really, really gentle, non-aggressive boys. Shimbulu's giving kisses to the little one right now. And of course, Intima trusts all the cubs. She knows all the cubs. She's babysitting. It's her clan. Spas, you're asking about the survival rate. That's a tricky one. We discussed this recently, and there's not actually any official statistics as to from cub to adulthood, the survival rate. Once they do make it past sort of 2 years old, their survival rate does increase dramatically. But they do have statistics for birth, because that's such a difficult procedure for the mothers to go through, due to the fact that the birthing canal is very narrow and due to the fact that there's a 90-degree bend there. It's really not an easy process for them. And sadly, lots of mothers don't make it, and also lots of offspring don't make it. So the survival rate during the birthing process is 60% of the cubs suffocate, so only 40% survive. We're very lucky with what we see here, and that's why I imagine maybe June and Intima, possibly there was another cub, part of a twin litter, but that cub just didn't make it. I'm only speculating, but it's highly possible. So 60% of hyena cubs, spotted hyena cubs, don't make it during the birthing process. But Spas, to sort of answer your question from cub to adulthood, I'm really not sure. There's not official stats released on that, so if I was to guess, it really would just be speculation. wonder if any other adults will come and join. It would be so nice to see them. So we're definitely going to sit here a little bit longer, and hopefully some other adults will join soon.
It is fantastic seeing you all again. Those who haven't met me, my name is Dylan, in what is undoubtedly a very, very, very green Kalahari from what we were looking at a couple of months ago. We will be doing our very first fireside chat for WildEarth. So if you can join us on the 13th at about 7:30 after game drive, it would be an absolute pleasure. We'll see you there.
Sign up to become an explorer and join them by the fire straight after the sunset safari.
Riverbeds are a great way to find water and look for places where elephant have excavated hollows. You can then dig into the sand, and after a couple of feet you should find damp sand, which then can be squeezed out or siphoned off for water. And with water being one of our scarcest resources, it is a good idea to conserve water where and how you can.
My name is Ross and I'm a field guide at andBeyond Phinda Private Game Reserve. I love getting questions from guests on WildEarth because I love sharing and learning information about nature with new people, and it also makes me feel like you're all joining me in real life. If you want to ask a question on WildEarth, then you need to register on our website. Once registered, go to our live safari page and submit your question below our live feed.
Look at this, the little one is up and about. Certainly hasn't had enough milk at this age. No amount of milk is enough. Oh, corky. Too sweet. Oh, look at this. That is stunning.
Tune into WildEarth every single day. It's in your nature.
Hi, I'm Mike Anderson, and I come to you live every day from Eco Training Pridelands Conservancy in South Africa. The wild animal I think is most underrated. I think buffaloes are the most underrated. They're so tenacious and ferocious, and also very, very protective of each other, which I find incredible. You know, sometimes people think of the big five, they just think of lions and leopards and other big animals, but I think buffaloes are pretty underrated.
Catch up with the guides daily here on WildEarth.
Welcome back to the very snoozy Birmingham ladies. The mother of the 3 cubs has actually just rolled over and she's now lying with her back legs on the stomach of the other lioness. And it's actually quite sweet because they're almost like interlocking where their stomachs are at the moment. It's quite cute. Lying like yin and yang almost. And this is pretty common for lions. Contact is so important when you're looking, especially at a lion pride and lionesses in particular. And that's because they have to maintain a very strong bond. And so whenever they can, they'll be touching each other, they'll be grooming each other. And it's so important for them because they work as a unit. And it's something that we don't often get to see in any of the other predators, so it's something I really appreciate about lions. You can actually see all of the little hairs of her beard sticking out there just under her chin, those white hairs. That is probably my favorite part of a lion, is that fluffy white chin. But I also really like the fluffy hair of the ears. And these are all pretty important when they're in any form of situation where they're going to need protection. Hair is always the first barrier. That's why the males have manes and the lionesses don't. Oh, stretch. But for all lions, they have to have that fluffy beard part. It's the first sense you can feel something on your beard. It means that it's close to your face. But it also protects everything vital, like the bottom jaw and the ears, whether it's from fighting or even just from pests and parasites, even seeds in the long grass. but they just look so comfortable this afternoon. And it's actually quite nice to be able to spend some time with them. We've been quite limited in the last few days. You can see the weather is still coming in. It actually started raining again just now. Luckily it's stopped now. And so it's beautiful for us to be able to sit here with a little bit of sun coming through and actually spend some time out with our animals. It is a game of patience for me today, but it's one of the best games of patience you can play, waiting for cubs to come out. Patricia, when she moves her cubs, when they were much younger, she would have moved them one at a time because they can't walk far distances. So she would have picked them up in her mouth and moved them, and then that's done one at a time. So she'll move the first one, come back and fetch the second, and then come back again for the third. At this stage, though, the cubs are managing to keep up with her. And so we actually knew she'd moved den sites because we found tracks of the 3 little cubs on the road just north of the river here on the other side of the bank. And so she actually will have walked them across here. She might have carried one every now and then if it was getting tired. But now they can actually follow her around. She just has to be very careful when she's moving them that she doesn't run into any other predators, because in that instance the cubs are still so young that yes, they can hide, but they are incredibly vulnerable. And their mortality rate is very high because they are so vulnerable. Only about half of the lion cubs that are born will ever reach around 2 years old, and when they're males, only about 25%, a quarter of all male lions will reach adulthood. So very, very low statistics for lions in terms of their mortality rates. It's much better documented than the hyenas, as Lauren was saying earlier. The hyenas, their statistics are not quite available because they're quite complicated to study in that sense. Lions are a little bit easier to study. She's got quite a few flies that have been bothering her, and what I'm really hoping is because she has started moving around a little bit, she looks like she's snoozing quite deeply at the moment, but I'm pretty sure she is still awake enough to hear things moving around her. Because she started moving, and the other lioness has just started moving as well now and kicking her in the stomach, that she might get up soon. And if she does and she starts moving towards that den site, it's going to be so exciting to see if those little cubs come out. It's one of the most special times that you can actually spend with any predator, but especially with lions, is around a den site. I think lions definitely prove that you don't need any personal space to be comfortable. White mane, that is a very cool name / handle. Yes, this is quite a beautiful interaction between these two. They are very close lionesses in the pride, as is. And they always tend to be right on top of each other. Even in the heat of the day, you'll often find these two very, very close, but also other members of the pride as well. Lions tend to lie on top of each other. I just think it's amazing how easily they're fitted into each other, head to tail, with their legs each resting on the other one's stomach. It's like a lion yin and yang. I think it's very special, the bonds that lionesses have. So this game of patience that we have here at the moment, I think what makes it so exciting for us is we know that it can change in an instant. So sitting here, she might all of a sudden decide, okay, it's time to go to that den site and wake the cubs and feed them. And if she does, it's immediate action, and it's just so incredible to see. So that's what I'm really, really hoping for. And especially now, it's actually just started cooling off again. The sun is hidden away behind the clouds. And so I'm thinking she might start getting active soon, or I'm hoping anyway. And then hopefully I can show you all the little cubs of the Birmingham Pride. But in the meantime, I'm going to sit here and watch the beautiful flowing river behind them. And I'm going to send you over to Steve with his own water at a watering hole.
Welcome to Kaiamanzi, everybody, the House of Water, where the clouds are pulling in quite ominously from the east. The wind is coming from that direction as well, and we're going to have no sunset this evening. We've been scrambling through to try and get to an area of some broadcastability, and we finally found one. So, because it is quite a nice, ominous scene, I'm going to, well, ominous, beautiful at the same time. So allow you all to just breathe it in. This wonderful Saturday, 13th of February, 2021. Agreed with you, Tess. Very, very soothing. Okay, everybody, well, I hope you enjoyed that. I'm going to move on, see what else we can find, and send you back over to Djuma and Lauren.
So much action at the den, it has not stopped. Hart appeared. Lots of aggression with the cubs. And Hart just moved off to the side because Ribbon's arrived. Ribbon's face has got blood on it. She looks very well fed. Everyone's having a really interesting interaction. But Hart ran off, Davy. She's slowly going to come in again. I haven't seen Hart since coming back. She's right behind that pole. Of course she is. Of course she is. Harticus. It's all very interesting dynamics here. This is the top 3 females. You've got Ribbon and Tima and then Hart. look at Dima's little one saying hi to Ribbon. That's your grandma. Hi, Ribs. At least we all know Ribbon is fine and well after that limp. I think she's fully recovered and she's full and she's happy, and I don't think we need to worry about Ribbon. Oh, Susan. Too long, I think. It's a very small mound for everybody. And goodness, I don't actually know the date they moved here, to be perfectly honest with you. It wasn't Ribbon's natal den on the 27th of March last year, but then Ribbon moved Ngwazi and Shimbulu here, and it became the communal den. So, I mean, it must be about 6 months plus that they've used this den. But I can't actually remember the date they moved here. Last year was a bit of a blur, wasn't it? Ribbon had her tail up when she came in. Very erect, right up, dominant. But when she's around Ntima, she's not like that. It's only when Heart was present she's like that. Ribbon's still very much at the top. I saw some things, some theories that maybe Heart had taken over. No, absolutely not. Ribbon's still very much at the top, still the matriarch. But because Ntima is her daughter, her own bloodline, there's no real need to constantly assert your dominance like that. She's still dominant over Ntima, but their relationship naturally will be a little bit different than it would be with Heart. Poor Braveheart. Corky's not here, and poor Novella, June's not here. But this is the busiest den sighting I've had in a while. David, during the day the adults are sleeping. Most likely. I mean, unless they stumble upon an opportunity. But they're primarily nocturnal. So I think, let me just do a time check. Okay, so it's 5 o'clock in the afternoon. The den's probably extremely active today because the rain has stopped. It's cooler. It's cooler. It's overcast. It's not too hot. And they're still just resting. If you look at the adults, and Tima's sleeping, Ribbon's flat, Heart's somewhere flat, because they are primarily nocturnal. Oh, Duffy, look at this. Oh, I missed it. And Tima's little one keeps jumping on her head. Very excited. So yes, they'll do their patrolling, they're hunting, they're searching, mostly during the night. But it's very similar to leopards. You will see leopards hunt during the day, absolutely. They just are primarily nocturnal. Oh, Lincoln, that's a good question. I know you mean it generally, but to get into a little bit more depth, I don't know. I think we may have lost Koza, and again, I don't have any proof of that, but I do feel that we haven't seen him in a long time. I'm a little bit worried about Saka. Saka was one of our really prominent common males, and he's just not around anymore, which is really, really sad. He's quite the character, Saka, shall we say. Saw Luca recently, but I don't know. They don't spend as much time here. The only adult male that I see at the den nowadays on a regular basis is Comet. And Comet's the one that's blind in his right eye, so he's quite easy to ID, generally speaking. And other than that, I really don't see many males around the communal den, and they are welcome, technically speaking. The males are welcome to spend time here. It's the communal den. So in answer to your question, I don't know. But I am worried about Saka. Saka's the one with the scarred hip, and he's quite the character. Falco, sorry, that's one we have seen recently. We saw Falco with Maribs on Chitwa. So Falco's good and well. But there's a lot of males that I've not seen. Gwazi and Shimbulu are not even lying down. You can see how big they are. They're huge. They've grown so much. They're almost a year now. Especially compared to this little one. I wonder if it'll be a boy or a girl. It was very early on to tell. We would need a good old genital check to even begin speculation. That's a hyena tantrum, by the way. Laura, we wouldn't know. I mean, hyenas are not really extensively followed, and I think Tess was mentioning earlier that due to their complicated social structures, really not easy to get into the real nitty-gritty of the clan. We do our best, but we don't see them mating. We don't know the fathers of any of these cubs. I would love to. I would absolutely love to, but we don't know. But generally, every organism will have behaviors and physical characteristics that do prevent inbreeding. Yes, they can inbreed, especially your cats, they can and they will, but generally speaking, inbreeding over a long period of time is not sustainable. It's really not good for the viability of the genetic population. So you will find most organisms will have some sort of method that will prevent them inbreeding. And a study suggests that they do go for males of a similar age than themselves. And all the males tend to be a similar age. And they think that this could prevent, this is just a theory, inbreeding with both fathers and sons. Also, the males disperse, remember, and that's why males disperse. That's why Hosanna dispersed, and that's why all the hyenas disperse to prevent inbreeding. So I can't really answer your question fully, but most organisms do have some sort of behavioral adaptation that will prevent that. It's all calmed down a little bit at the den. It was very, well, it was full of excitement just moments ago. I would really love to see Corky. Okay, I'm going to sit here a little bit longer and continue to enjoy this, but we're going to send you guys across to some lions at Ngala.
Welcome back to andBeyond Ngala. So the lionesses have actually switched places. You can see this one lying with her belly towards us is looking quite pregnant. You can actually see she's even starting to swell a bit around the mammary glands. And it looks like, now that it's cooling off, that the mother is actually starting to wake up. She's been yawning, she's sitting up at the moment. She's been grooming. And every now and then she's looking over towards the den site on her right-hand side. And so I'm waiting with Beth, hoping that they are going to get up and move over towards there. You can see there's quite an ominous sky behind them. We have heard quite a lot of thunder. It has started to drizzle. And so I'm hoping that she might get up and move soon with this change of weather coming in. So she is looking quite fixedly down the river. I don't know if she's maybe heard something in the distance. She could have possibly heard some other members of the Birmingham Pride. Their tracks were last seen heading in that direction. And she is definitely moving those ears quite a bit, listening out. Especially that right ear, because that's in the direction of the den site. So she wants to make sure, there she's giving it a quick glance. She wants to make sure there's no other predators coming down, or even maybe more elephants towards that area. The wind has actually picked up quite a lot as well, and she's actually facing directly into the wind now, which I think is just her way of picking up all the scents that are blowing down the river, especially with the banks on either side. The wind is actually channeled through the riverbed, and so I think that's probably what she's doing, is just picking up those scents, hoping that nothing is coming towards her. But what I'm crossing my fingers for is that she gets up and crosses that little stream to go back towards the den. How exciting would it be to be able to show you those 3 little cubs coming bumbling out into the river. It's actually very interesting to see that the pregnant lioness is still flat, and I think that's because she has less to worry about than the mom, who knows she has 3 vulnerable cubs out on the banks. Just a reminder, if you are under the age of 18 and have a question for us, please email us. Natalie, you are 9 years old and you want to know why some lions are white. So it's actually a very rare genetic composition that makes them white. So basically, a normal lion is this color, which we call tawny. A white lion, instead of having the tawny color, has the white color on the genes. And because they are so rare, we know that it is a recessive gene. So what that means, Natalie, is if you've got strong genes and weak genes, the tawny color, this color, is the strong gene, and the weak gene is the white color. So even if a lion has one white gene and one tawny gene, because the tawny gene is strong, that's the color the lion will look. So to be white means they have to have 2 of the weak genes, 2 of the white genes, and then they will come out white. And it's particularly common genetic composition for the Birmingham Pride, but also for the Breakaway Pride. They also have some of the white gene, although they don't have any white lions. And it actually originated in this area, in the Timbavati region. And it's something that is not as common anymore. People do actively breed white lions at the moment, but in the wild, there are not very many at all. It's thought that it originated because of the Ice Age, because lions would have had to be lighter in color back then. Oh, it looks like the pregnant one is kind of starting to wake up and stretch a little bit, but she's not fully committed to getting up just yet. Seems a bit like me in the mornings. So I am going to hope that in the next few minutes she goes towards those cubs to check on them. The wind has just picked up incredibly. And so while I wait at this den site, I'm going to send you over to Lauren at her den site.
Oh my goodness, that was absolutely pandemonium. How's your eardrum, Dove?
I heard.
Yeah. Wow, okay, let me just describe what happened there. And Tima's little one came over to say hi to Ngwazi and Shimbulu. And that was Shimbulu, everyone. That noise. Wow. And now everything's completely fine. Ribbon, I bet your eardrums hurt. We've got someone up the mound. I think it's Braveheart and Novella. Megan, I completely agree. That was very dramatic. Totally unnecessarily dramatic. That's the loudest I've ever heard one of the cubs scream, and I spent a lot of time at this den. And Tima was just smelling ribbon. They were just having a lovely interaction. And Tima's cub followed. And wow, pandemonium broke loose. That was just a tantrum. Look at this pair. Queens of their castle. Okay, let us see how you get down. It's easy to get up, isn't it? But not so easy to come down. It seems that Braveheart and Novella have actually formed a lovely bond. Oh, you guys be careful. I'm not entirely sure this idea is a good one. Now that's screaming from Shimbulu. Oh, Davi, we've got June. June's here. And I bet you she's right behind the pole. No, she's not. There we go. Novella, your mama's here. She probably heard the screaming, to be honest. She's walking away from the den now. She's not joining. Okay, Novella's doing something very naughty here within Tima. I want wonder if she's going to get scolded for this. She was just having a little lick. And Tima looks too exhausted to bother. That's also what I love about a hyena den sighting. It's so active. They come, they go. The cubs are very dramatic, as Megan says. They interact. They perform to their rank. The cubs run circles around that termite mound. They're just always active. It's not, they don't just sleep. There's always something to look at. There's always something happening. So wow, we're going to sit here a little bit longer, and hopefully the next time you come to us, there will be no such noise.
Imagine having your own secluded African bush home where you and your friends can enjoy the ultimate safari experience. If you sign up to be a WildEarth explorer, this could become a reality. Tumbeta House is located in the heart of Djuma Private Game Reserve, the home of WildEarth. You could win a chance to stay at this intimate wilderness retreat, offering you the rare and highly sought-after privilege of your own home in the bush. The prize includes 3 nights for 6 people and includes daily game drives, a chance to see the WildEarth camp, and have dinner with one of our guides. Sign up to be a WildEarth explorer before the end of February 2021, and you could be heading to Djuma, the place that we call home. Available dates are limited, so terms and conditions apply.
So in 1998, we had this idea to go and put a live web camera on a waterhole somewhere in the Sabi sands next to the Kruger National Park. And I approached just about every single landowner, and everybody thought I was completely crazy until I met Yuri and Pippa Moorman.
We thought it was definitely a fun idea and a worthwhile thing to experiment.
And it immediately became a runaway success. And it gave people all around the world the opportunity to watch a little piece of Africa day and night. Back in 1998, it was the very early stages of the internet. And all we were able to do was to get a 30-second refreshing JPEG out of that camera. But over time, what we began to do is focus more and more on trying to develop this concept of giving people the opportunity to go on safari.
Even though we live just 500 meters up this hill, we still put the camera on to see what's happening.
Absolutely, we watch it ourselves.
My name is MCCURDY and I work for Eco Training. I love hearing from all of the viewers. However, I particularly enjoy those of you who have been watching for a few years. Your questions are just so advanced and they really get me thinking. If you'd like to ask a question on WildEarth, you need to register on our website. Once you've done that, head to the live safari page and submit your questions below the
Welcome back to another watering hole in the north of Bafusuk, this one called Big Dam. And while everybody, Paul and myself, are on a little bit of a scenic route this afternoon, another beautiful scene with a little bit of sun coming through the clouds and lots of action with lion cubs and hyena cubs. So we might just allow you another just a reflective moment. Feeling very reflective on this Saturday, being Saturday, as we know. And a couple of days ago, I had a reminder, these reminders on Facebook that come through, and it said Hukumuri is back, and that was 2 years ago, which signaled a year that he'd already been on the property, so it's about 3 years now. that I spent time with Mr. Hukumuri. Many of you have probably been online and following the news, and you've seen the wonderful article James and Jamie have written in Africa Geographic. And Mpumalanga Tourism Agency has also produced an article, and I'm not going to get into the finer details as it's all very well known now. But I think just a moment on this wonderful Saturday, an emotional moment, I'll be honest. A gentleman who was quite rugged, tough, adamant to get his own way, came in from the west, and it was a bit nerve-wracking, I recall, for many of you viewers at home. When he arrived, not many people liked him initially because of Tlalamba being a very new cub. She was a brand new little 3-4-month-old cub at the time, 4-month maybe, 5. And Hukumuri came in from the west. Remember, the interloper, he was called. And, well, he came in with swagger and style. And he had some interactions with Tingana and had some interactions with Hosana, as we recall. And initially, as I said, he wasn't everybody's favorite leopard, but he grew in character with each new return to the property, each new event. How many times did many of us say we're going to the west of Djuma, that is, to track down Hukumuri, and how many times did we succeed? How exciting was it? The hook would arrive on Djuma and we would be very excited, very excited. I was blessed to spend a very long time with him on a couple of occasions as he hunted warthogs. I remember doing almost a 2-hour broadcast of him staring into a hole until the piglet finally came out and he killed it. It was raw power, raw violence in the cat world, but pure beauty. And I know many of you out there are feeling quite sad and quite sort of upset about the whole story, but human-wildlife conflict, everyone on the African continent, is a real thing. Habitats are disappearing, are diminishing. And wildlife conflicts across the African continent is ongoing and will be ongoing as human populations rise. Can't directly blame anybody for that. He was experiencing a lot of pressure. He had been through the wars, as we have documented. Definitely didn't shy down from a battle. Definitely went in with guns blazing, and everybody will remember his tenacity. his blind sort of belief in himself. No concern for his body whatsoever. And we can just remember the good times. Let's try not to dwell on the details and rather celebrate the individual that blessed many of your TV screens, blessed many of our hearts that we saw him live and tracked him live. And we'll never forget that stare. Every guide who worked here, presenter who first saw Hukumuri, will remember that stare he had. He had very yellow eyes before he lost one. He had very yellow eyes, and he would stare straight through you. It was quite a daunting sort of thing because we didn't know him, and he would suddenly just be there. That swagger. He wasn't the biggest leopard in the world, but he carried himself with an enormous amount of confidence. You know that person. He's not the biggest guy, but there's something about him. And he definitely, he lived up to it. Such a name, Hukumuri. And so it's a bit of a tribute out to that gentleman who we all know well and love well. And so bless him, everybody. Bless all of you with your concerns and comments. I hope all the concerns are laid to rest now, knowing the full story. There's nothing much we can do. Bless you all on this wonderful Saturday in the spirit of that beautiful leopard.
Welcome back to andBeyond in Ngala. So I'm actually sitting at the moment with a whole lot of zebras and this tiny little foal with an ox pecker on it. As well as a whole lot of impalas in the background, and there's even some wildebeest off in the distance. And it's almost like a little Serengeti here. So I've left the lionesses in the riverbed. I've moved on to have a look if there's anything else around, made space for some guests with those lions. And how beautiful is this scene? And it's unusually close actually to where the lions are. The lions are just behind me in the riverbed. And up here we have all of these beautiful relaxed zebras and wildebeest and impala. So everybody is in absolutely excellent condition. Shiny coats, bright colors, full bellies. And it has been such a flourishing year for all of these herbivores. Actually, that female on the left still looks pregnant. Definitely still pregnant. Look at the size of that belly. So she is actually quite late. Most of the other impalas actually gave birth in around November, some of them in December. And so she's completely out of cycle with the rest of the harem or the herd. And that's actually quite unusual because normally they'd synchronize. Similar to the lionesses, they also try to synchronize. And that's the best way for them to survive, because a little baby impala is a prized meal for pretty much anything out here. So you've got to have as many of them together at the same time as you can. You can see the wildebeest are actually starting to almost lie down and start relaxing. They will probably sleep here tonight, which at the moment they seem to think is fine. Oh, little one. But actually it's not the wisest decision with the lions right behind this clearing. But I'd imagine because they are upwind, they can't smell the lions. That little one at the back is scratching its head on its mum's bum. That's actually quite sweet. So it's pretty common for us to see all of these species together. Sometimes you'll even find giraffes in the mix as well. And it really is stunning to see all the different animals together, how they behave around each other. These two, I think, have just started changing colors from that sandy brown to the gunmetal gray. And the impalas are running around in the background. That's what you saw flashing past. Yeah, everyone's definitely starting to settle for the night. That impala has a lot of energy. So that's a young one that would have been born probably in November. And I think because it's nice and cool, the clouds coming in, the young ones just have a little bit more energy than usual, and so they're practicing their speed and quick turns. So this area is particularly beautiful at andBeyond in Ngala. We often have the Birmingham Pride here. And there always just seems to be so much life around. And I mean, even with the lions just behind us, look at how much life there is here. It's a stunning area. It holds a lot of water, which means that it's a great area to find good food, but also a good area for these animals to start settling down for the night, because it's nice and open. That looks like a juvenile battalier that is sitting in a tree, possibly also getting ready for the night. Beautiful silhouette. So an area like this is an area that these animals might actually struggle to find, because a lot of the areas that are left that are natural are very thick in vegetation. So to find an open area like this is actually also sodic, so you can see those patches of bare sand in between the grass. It's a really good place for herbivores, especially on a day like today, to be trying to settle, because you can see the weather is quite bad, which means the lions will be more active. And so for them it's really important to have an area that has water, has enough open areas to be safe, but also has enough food to keep all the different species happy. And so that's why this looks like an oasis at the moment. The little zebra foal is actually, it's the only foal here, but there is a very pregnant female. Whereas the tail movements are not involuntary, so they do know that they are moving their tails, and they will do it whenever there's quite a few pests around, like flies. And at the moment, because it is cool, because it's going to rain, there are quite a few more insects out, and so they're just trying to keep the flies off. So it's not an involuntary movement, it is voluntary, but they just need to do it more frequently on a day like today. But the zebra foal has got an unusually long mane, with very ginger on the top. It actually blends into the impalas on the top there. And it's the only foal in this dazzle, but there is a very pregnant female as well, so I'm sure there will be another little foal soon. That's actually the pregnant female. It's just come in. Very striking how dark this female's stripes are. Incredibly thick. So this female, you can actually see her shadow stripes really clearly. Those thinner greyish looking stripes or brownish stripes between the very thick black ones. Those are called her shadow stripes, and that's actually how you tell the difference between the two different species of zebras that we get here in South Africa. So the Burchell's zebra, which is this one, the plains zebra, has those shadow stripes, where the mountain zebra actually doesn't. They only have black and white stripes without a shadow stripe in the middle. They also tend to be a tiny bit smaller. Oh, look how fluffy the little one is still with the oxpeckers on it. And it's very ginger on the top still. So that's probably one of my favorite things about a zebra foal, is having a look at that ginger color and how fluffy they are. But I'm very impressed at how long the mane is. It's actually still blowing in the wind quite majestically for a young one. And it would make sense that a young one has a slightly longer mane, although that could also be genetic. But a young foal like this is going to be particularly vulnerable to those lionesses in the riverbed. And the first thing that they would go for is the neck. And so if you have a very long mane, it doesn't stop injury to the neck, but it certainly helps. There's a lot of birds calling at the moment. I'm glad everyone's loving the ginger mohawk. I think it's very cute. He's like a little bush rock star. It is very cute. I think it's probably the nicest mane I've ever seen on a young zebra. He's gone for the ombre look. Time to suckle? Not so sure. It's actually so funny seeing those impalas' heads pop up in between the zebras and the wildebeest. So the stripes of a zebra won't darken during pregnancy. They will actually stay the same throughout their entire life. They might get a bit darker only going from a foal towards an adult, because the foals are a little bit more chocolate and red, and then as they get older they get darker. But the stripes themselves won't actually change color during a pregnancy. So it doesn't work quite the same as us, where we undergo quite a lot of changes when we're pregnant. Sometimes your hair can change, your nail condition can change, your skin condition can change. For animals, it's usually not the same. They would stay the same shade, and that makes sense because their coloration is very important for camouflage, and so they can't afford to have it change at all unless they're going from a youngster to an adult. So the stripes will always be as striking as you see them now. It's almost like they moving their tails in unison at the moment, like a symphony or an orchestra. It's actually quite unusual. They all seem to be moving towards the thicket, which I did not expect, because the wildebeest had actually started settling in the open. Now they're starting to move into that thicket. And I'm wondering if it's not because the wind has just picked up, but also it's actually just started raining a little bit harder, and so maybe they're looking for some cover, which I think myself and Owen might have to do sometime very soon as well. But I am going to leave these wonderful animals here in their oasis, their little paradise, and I'm going to send you over to Lauren with her hyena den.
Talking of leaving animals, I have not been able to do such a thing. There's just been far too much cuteness overload here. Oh. This little bundle of joy is just not stop. Oh, no. We bit Mum's left ear, we bit Mum's right ear, we bit Mum's paw, Mum's toenails. It's all very exciting. Oh, look at Novella. See, the bigger ones are just interested in wrestling with themselves. They know this one's too small. Oh. One day soon, just stay small. Heart's still here, Ribbon's still here, and Djuma's still here. It's still an extremely active day inside. Sorry, I'm laughing at poor Djuma trying to sleep. Ian, the Sabi Sands, I am not sure I could answer that. We are only really in the northern sector. So the only confirmed clan in the northern sector that we know about is the Djuma clan. Now, we also know the Elephant Plain clan, which is to the west. That's more in the western sector. And I personally believe there's definitely a clan sort of up in the Manguleti boundary area. There'll definitely be individuals coming in from the KMP side, the Kruger side, but in the entire Sabi Sands, I could not answer. I know that Londolozi follow a clan. I don't actually know its name, but there'll definitely be other hyena clans, but the only one that really we follow here at this side is the Djuma clan. We don't have traverse on Elephant Plains, so we see individuals, we recognize individuals, but we don't have access to this sort of communal den to sit and watch the clan dynamics like we do here. I mean, we sit here for hours and really trying to understand the interaction, who's who. This little one better be careful. Why don't you come back here, little one, and show us your genitals? That would be so lovely. What do you think, everyone? Come on, tell me. Girl or boy? I hope girl. Not to be sexist or biased, because I'm a girl, just I think the clan needs more girls. There's lots of males, and most likely those males will disperse. I would like a girl. She'll be high-ranked. Ribbon, of course, has 2 boys. Chris, all of them. It's amazing. At this current point in time, every single adult, not sub-adult, adult, in the Djuma clan has cubs. Ribbon has 2 boys, Heart has a boy and a girl, June has a girl, Corky has a girl, and Intima here is the mother of this little individual, and we don't know the sex yet. We can try. Davi's ready as soon as we get that golden shot. We can try and have a little look, but it's very early days. So every single adult female has a cub. Or 2. Isn't that incredible? The clan is thriving. Considering they went through so much, it's really thriving. And look at Novella next to this little one. That's Junebug. Junebug used to be so small, and look at her now. They grow very quickly. But it's quite a slow sort of cub life, if you like. It takes them a long time to reach sexual maturity, and then it takes even longer to get ready to have your own cubs, have your own offspring. It's really, that's probably why the survival rate will be lower. It's a long lactation period. Mama's just the best, isn't she? Oh. Oh, no, that's too cute. I can't handle it, everyone. Look at the nails. You can see the nails already. Hyenas don't have retractable or protractable claws at all. It's just like a domestic dog. Oh, the nails are out. And they keep their nails nice and trim just by walking on the rough terrain, running, just like a dog, really. Although sometimes we do have to cut our dog's nails, but you will always see the sort of claws in the track of a hyena. That's immediately how you know it's a hyena. And those little teeth, can you see that? And those big teeth, oh. Well, for all the days we spent waiting on a glimpse of this little cub, I think it's safe to say now that there's no more hiding. There'll be nothing keeping this little cub in the den now. We've reached that point. Okay, I'm going to enjoy the last few moments at the den before we bumble and see what else we can find.
It is fantastic seeing you all again. Those who haven't met me, my name is Dylan, in what is undoubtedly a very, very, very green Kalahari from what we were looking at a couple of months ago. We will be doing our very first fireside chat for WildEarth. So if you can join us on the 13th at about 7:30 after game drive, it would be an absolute pleasure. We'll see you there.
Sign up to become an explorer and join them by the fire straight after the sunset safari.
The reason why we see that wildebeest by himself is because he's a male, or a bull, as we typically would call him. And what he does is that he marks and defends an area. Essentially, he is looking for the ultimate piece of land or prime property. Needs to have good grazing, needs to have a water source close by. And not too far away from here, there's a sickle bush thicket that would provide just enough shelter from the wind and the rain.
My name is Lauren, and I'm currently working in Djuma Private Game Reserve here in South Africa. I love answering your questions during the live safaris. It's my favorite part. It feels like you're on the vehicle with me, and I'm able to teach you exactly what you want to know. If you want to ask a question on WildEarth, then you need to register on our website. Once registered, you must go to the live safari page and ask your question below the live feed.
The croc is still holding another one there. It's holding from the hindquarters. I would really want. The wildebeest cross, is it trying? The croc is holding the tail. It's holding tight. Oh no. Goodness me. Lucky wildebeest. You have another day to live.
Expect the unexpected here on WildEarth daily.
There's a grounding earthiness to this place that we feel in our ancestors. It's a place where, believe it or not, we evolved as a human species, and anyone who's come to Africa will understand that. The connectivity that the continent has to the person and to people's souls is next level. I'm thoroughly looking forward to taking you on your next adventure when we explore all the small and big things.
Catch up with the guides daily here on WildEarth.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Bufosuk Big Dam in the north, where we still sit with this beautiful scene and continue to reminisce past memories, past moments. Those of you who might be new to the show might be unsure of who it was I was talking about before. Hukumuri was a male leopard, estimated apparently to be about 9 years old at the time of his passing. He arrived on Djuma about 3 years ago. Amid all sorts of panic and drama, Tingana, the dominant male leopard, was going through a little bit of a physical health crisis. And Hukumuri, the usurper, arrived at the exact time that was happening. Going through a TV show at the time, which made it very dramatic. He was very dramatic, and Tlalamba, Tingana's most recent daughter, who's 3 years old, 3 and a bit now, she was just a little one. And Tandi was spending a lot of time in that part of the world, and Hukumuri he'd arrived in and just carved out a huge chunk of Djuma, the whole western side. And there was moments of panic, surely was. And in the world of cats, males often come into an area and stake their claim, and they can often kill cubs. And so there was some concern, and rightly so. I remember Jamie Patterson even had a sighting of Tlalamba up a tree on Sandy Patch on our western side. She was up a tree with a kill, and Hukumuri sort of just walked on away from her, and she actually went down, I think went after Hukumuri to give him a bit of a sniff. She was a little bit older at that stage. But he came in with Djuma. He was very characteristic, everybody, those of you who didn't know him. He had this way of holding his tongue that would always sort of hang out of his mouth. It's probably the most characteristic leopard you'd ever have seen. He had that way of holding his tongue. He had yellow eyes. He had a huge swagger. He had big shoulders, but was quite short, stocky. And after a period of time, he ended up blinding himself. We're not 100% sure how. There was a lot of talk. But his right eye got a claw in it, or a warthog tusk in it, or something lacerated the cornea, and so he ended up having a blind right eye. But didn't slow him down. Didn't slow him down at all, and after a period of time, he still carried on doing his thing, still kept fighting and competing and hunting, and he loved his warthogs. And then he arrived on Djuma again, and some people say it was possibly a lion attack, or he got in a fight with another male leopard. I'm not sure. This huge hole in the top of his head behind his right or left eye. I think it was his left eye. It was this hole. It looked like a massive canine had gotten into his head, and almost like it cracked into his skull. And I thought he was done for. I was quite worried about him. But he just shook it off, everybody. Shook it off. Nothing like a hole in the head to make you sleep a little longer in the morning. He didn't seem to be too concerned. Very relaxed cat. We encountered him quite a few times on foot. Many times a vehicle. And his memory will live on for a long time. He goes into the records of the greats, Mvula Anderson, who's also a very popular male leopard who disappeared a little while ago. We don't know where. Leopards have a tendency of doing that as well, of being there and suddenly not. If you haven't seen that article, African Geographic, you should go have a little read. You can see James Hendry, obviously, and Jamie Patterson, who worked here. Both know him extremely well, and they're both extremely good writers, so beautifully puts the whole story into perspective, so there's no point in me even trying to repeat it now. It's all there, interviews done, investigations done. End of the day, just one of those things. Territories shrink. Individuals might get a little bit pressured, might find themselves a little bit weak condition or some sort of underlying issue perhaps. There was mention of a damaged canine which was possibly causing him a lot of pain. And livestock are a very easy animal to catch. So it is a very unfortunate state of affairs, but around the African continent, everybody, these things are happening all the time, I'm afraid. It just so happens that it's now happened to an individual that everybody knows and loves. It's sort of remiss of Cecil the lion. It's just another lion, everybody, but he was well known. And what it does do is it does highlight the conservation aspects of these situations. It highlights the importance of protected areas. Highlights the importance of conservation areas for sure. But we shouldn't look at it as a sad thing. It is unfortunately what happens these days. It has been happening for a long time. And hopefully things can change. But it's a very long story, that one. Blessed to be able to spend time in these conservation areas. But it highlights the importance of maintaining conservation areas on the African continent for the protection of multiple different species. Unfortunately, predator conservation and predator conflict is enormous, as you can imagine. Around the world, you have a look at Europe. Europe doesn't have any wolves left. Maybe there's some conservation studies moving back in that regard. Bears as well, there's big issues. As soon as you have a dangerous animal, humans take priority. Living spaces are changing. Encroachment, habitat loss. These are all very important elements that are very, very important to look at from governmental, institutional standpoints. we're going to move off from here and go find ourselves a nice dry spot as the rain is falling, and I think Lauren is still thoroughly enjoying her hyenas.
Now another adult has arrived, but they went behind the dam. Actually, Davia, I'm not sure. Are you able to head over that way? I've lost sight of which body is whose over there. I know Ntima went over there to sleep. Heart went, yep, I think that's Heart. You can see the notch missing. So the other adult, I know who it is. It's Comet. It's Comet. It's a male. So there you go, in answer to your question earlier about the males. Comet seems to be very in with the ladies, shall we say. Very relaxed. The cubs are relaxed around him. He just had a sniff of Ntima, and she didn't flinch. I wonder where June went. We saw her, and she's not returned. Is she avoiding, or is she just not finished having a little snooze? Navella's definitely waiting on her. So on the left we have Ntima, on the right we have Heart. At the back we have Comet, and that's Braveheart wandering between them. Oh, look at little Navella at the den entrance, Toffee. I sometimes feel sorry for the cubs whose mothers are not around. I don't know why it's silly to feel like that, because of course their mothers will come around. But you can see how much Navella here has changed. Her spot patterns almost becoming prominent. It's not prominent enough to really pick it out yet, but you can see the spot pattern. She's going light on the head. Maybe you can pick it out, actually. You can probably pick out a few patterns. But she's really changing. And every time I go away on leave and I come back, it's remarkable how much they've changed, and you've got to relearn them all over again. I think we are in for a storm tonight, though. Nick, I know whether there would be an aggressive battle. I mean, they would probably try to avoid physical contact, but it would be quite the thing to witness. I remember in the Masai Mara, I wasn't there, but I think it was the North Clan, and I want to say the Happy Zebra Clan. They encountered, I think they met, oh, who's this? I think it's Comet, yes, it's Comet again. He's coming to say hello to Ribbon. Or no, he's just anal pasting his way across the den. There you go, territories. But yes, it would be aggressive. There's footage of that online two clans meeting. Every member of the own clan will stick together, tails up, and get ready. It could result in battle, absolutely. And this could most likely happen at a carcass. We've seen the Djuma clan use Chitwa. We've also seen the EP clan use Chitwa. But again, just like leopards, avoiding physical contact at all times is beneficial. Although hyenas are incredibly powerful and resilient and strong, they also can't risk injury. I've actually got to know Comet over time, and he's very charming. The cubs are all relaxed with him too. Hello, Comet. Did you just come here to anal paste and then leave? It appears so. This is going to sound very disturbing to some of you, and it's not meant to, but I've always wondered what that substance smells like. Davi's making a face. Do you not wonder that, Davi? No. I'm a little bit sensitive to smells, and I always wonder what it smells like. I mean, it obviously contains their unique chemical signature, so all the hyenas understand this is their territory. They do anal paste around dens. And this is what Navella's doing now. She's trying to anal paste, but she's too young. I've never personally been able to smell it, but I've always wondered what it smells like anyway. We didn't get that name, Jared, but yes, Navella is so adorable. Really. Runavia? Runavia, yes.
It was Sulabia.
Sulabia.
I think so.
Oh, we've got two different interpretations there. Davi's right. Okay, now he's dancing. I shouldn't have said that, Jared. Don't tell Davi he's right. But yes, Zulabia. Okay. Navella's very cute, and she's at that stage where she's still very cub-like. She's still very black bear-like, but she's also starting to get the hyena features. She's also very small. Oh, we're going to try and anal paste again. We saw an adult do it, so now we are going to try and do it. I find it funny when the cubs do that because they're not really anal pasting. They're not really marking their territory at this young age, but they're of course copying. You know your mummy's there somewhere, don't you? I wish June would also come to the den. That would be really interesting. We've got Ribbon here, we've got Intima here, and we've got Heart. And I wish June would just come, but for some reason she didn't. Chris, I've actually never seen mange on a hyena, but I believe it's definitely possible. I've never just personally sort of seen it. I'm sure the internet will have some wonderful examples if you were to Google it. But mange is fairly widespread. It's from a little mite, which is an arachnid. We had a tick this morning in the same sort of group as ticks. And basically that is what causes mange, and it has the same effect on humans. We call it scabies because the actual Latin name of the mite is Sarcoptes scabi, or scabi, I think. And it's a highly contagious skin disease, mange itself. And what happens is that the mites will actually embed themselves into the skin or the hair follicles of the animal, depending on their genus. and they burrow under the skin. This will produce a lesion which can result in infection. And the infection will spread quite rapidly so, and this is because the animal will be scratching. So it's itchy, the animal will scratch, spread the infection, and over time the animal in question will begin to lose hair, and that's why we see patches and scarring of hair loss. From then, the animal can become really dehydrated, even develop hypothermia, believe it or not, from hair loss, starve, and sometimes die. So if it's really severe, mange can kill. And the hair loss itself is not really from mange, it's actually from an allergic reaction due to the mite. If that makes sense, that's what's happening with the hair loss. And overall, the immune system will be really suppressed. I believe the most current up-to-date stats for mange is that it's been reported in 10 different orders. Remember, you break animals down into different groups, so 10 different orders, 27 different families, and 104 species, as far as I can remember. And this is from domesticated livestock to wild mammals. So I believe that hyenas definitely could get mange. I've just never personally seen it. Hyenas are, of course, very resilient, so their immune system would maybe stay strong, but they still could suffer from the allergic reaction. They still could suffer from hair loss. And as we all know, once infection spreads, it's very dangerous. That's what's been wrong with me in my speech the past little while. My wisdom tooth is infected. But do not worry, everyone, it's coming out very soon and I cannot wait. It means a lot of my wisdom will leave me, but I think we'll survive. Davi's happy. I won't always be right anymore. My wise old teeth will be gone. But in all seriousness, it's the infection itself that's dangerous to the animal, not necessarily the mite, if that makes sense. Okay, I think we may bumble soon. I would also like to pay tribute to Mr. Hukumuri, so we're going to leave the den and see what else we can find.
Hi, I'm Sue. I'm from South Africa and I'm the incredibly lucky winner of the Tswalu competition. Tswalu has so much to offer, but we're really looking forward to the game viewing options, as going out with a personal guide who has so much knowledge will just be exceptional. Motsi Lodge looks absolutely amazing and we're so looking forward to spending time there. It really is out of this world. I only registered as an explorer towards the end of January, so when the email arrived stating that I was the winner, it took me totally by surprise. I'd just like to thank WildEarth and Tswalu for this most incredible prize. It really is a dream come true.
WildEarth Explorers, it's in your nature.
Our bodies are made up of about 60% water, which means that in a very short space of time, you can dehydrate completely. A relatively efficient way of collecting water early in the morning is to take an absorbent material like a sock and to walk through the grass, absorbing the condensed dewdrops on the grass. Once the material is saturated, you can then squeeze it out into a container, or you can suck it out directly into your mouth.
My name is Steve, and one of my favorite things at WildEarth is getting questions from you. The type of questions that I really like are those ones that really help us to unpack and understand and really integrate the ecological knowledge and fully appreciate the importance that animals such as these Cape buffalo bring to the ecosystem. If you want to ask a question on WildEarth, you're going to have to register on the website. But once registered, just head on over to the live Safari page and enter your question under the live feed. Hello, Mama. Just checking us out, everybody. There's no aggression here. Very relaxed. A herd of elephants moving around your car like that is truly, truly magical.
Tune into WildEarth every single day. It's in your nature.
We've been sitting here for a little while now, watching these two enormous kudu bulls on the top of a koppie, but unfortunately the two of them have now positioned themselves perfectly behind branches so that we cannot see their faces. How ridiculous is that? So we'll just have to stay put and see how it goes. But you can see that the kudu bull on the left hand side is much larger. He is enormous. He looks like he is in the prime of his life now. He's got lots of muscle. You can see the size of his neck in comparison to the kudu on the right hand side is far superior, and also his horns are much thicker. So the one on the right with the oxpecker that's just dangling from its ear is much younger, but they are beautiful, and it's I suppose a really good place for a kudu to stay. They're very well adapted to move around on these rocky outcrops, and their coloration definitely helps for perfect camouflage. But it's also a really, really good spot as a vantage point to scan around and see if there are any predators down below. And I've definitely seen lots of leopards hanging around in this koppie, but obviously none today. Kudus are normally good indicators. If there are predators in the area, they won't stay quiet about them. They typically give off a big bark that sounds a bit like a dog. Not that they're doing that right now. And then lots of vegetation up there for them to feed on too. Lots of delicious things. But I almost didn't see them as I drove past, and then one moved its head, and as it moved its head I saw the movement of the horns. But if it wasn't for that, I probably would have missed them. But not much else going on. But it's a very eerie sort of day on safari. Like I said, it's gloomy, as I'm sure you've seen. It's probably quite similar at Djuma. It's a bit chilly now. The wind is blowing a fair amount. It's not the greatest weather. But I think what we'll do is we'll actually head to some of the open plains and see if the general game hasn't moved around there. This is also nice, I suppose, for the kudu. It's actually quite sheltered. You can see, even though they are high up, they're not sort of really exposed to the elements, to the wind. Lots of dense vegetation around them. He's now looking off into the distance, and I think he might be able to see towards HQ Pan. He's intently focused on something, so they've got great eyesight as well. Using those ears really well too. Might also be able to hear the hardy-dars in the distance. I think we'll maybe also head around to HQ Pan and just have a check and see if anyone has come around to drink. But it's so difficult to try and pinpoint where to find the predators with all the water around at the moment. Many opportunities for them to drink out of puddles rather than having to go to designated water sources. But I was hoping if we've been sitting with this kudu for maybe 10 minutes now, well, the two of them, that if there was anything in the area, they would let us know. But if there is, the predators are doing a good job at hiding away. I suppose it's not a difficult thing. But look at him, he's massive. Just licking his nostrils at the moment. Now you can really see the muscles on his back and on his shoulders. For now, no. If an antelope does break its horns, unfortunately they're not going to grow back. They're going to be damaged, which is obviously not ideal for them. But they don't very often break their horns. You typically see impala out of all the antelope species that we see in this area with broken horns. With kudu, you don't often see a broken horn, but what you can see, and it's actually quite tragic, is that when kudu bulls fight, you can see they've got these beautiful spiraled horns. They unfortunately become entangled, and I've seen it only once before. However, I've seen many videos and many pictures where one kudu will end up dying, whether it's because it's broken its neck, or, you know, it's just had half of its horns pulled out and bled out. But anyways, actually Mike has got an interesting story, and you should definitely ask him about it when he's on drive again, about some kudu at one of the other eco-training camps where they came across a kudu bull, and he was basically attached to another kudu that was dead, and they'd been in a fight, so he was sort of trapped there. They're really big antelope species, so it's not like a kudu can walk and drag the dead one around. And then, unfortunately, it was almost certain death for the kudu that was alive. He wasn't able to get himself free. Anyways, what Mike did then discover is that there was, in fact, a leopard that had been feeding on the kudu bull that was dead. And can you imagine that, being stuck to, well, I suppose an opponent? You can't break free, and now you've got a predator literally less than a meter away from you, feeding on your opponent that unfortunately didn't make it. Interesting though, hey? Quite a scene that, and I think the kudu bull eventually got free, which was quite fascinating. But there they go. I think we're going to leave them just because they're moving into an area now where we can't really see them, but always nice to catch a glimpse of these antelope. It's one that we don't get to spend much time with, as they're normally quite shy and typically hanging around in denser vegetation. So a good opportunity to just watch them. And we're at quite a nice distance away, that they didn't really feel too bothered by us. Now, off we go to, I think, Impala Plains to have a look and see what creatures will be out in the open. And Lauren is still sitting quite comfortably at the hyena den.
Now, we decided to stay at the den. The rain is starting, and at least we're dry here. We don't have to go home. We can just enjoy watching all of the enuts. Now, there's something important that I wanted to do today, and I wanted to wait because we're at the den right now, but I think with this weather, it's important to do it now. Hukamuri meant a lot to everyone, so I would like to just take a minute, all of us, just watch the weather, watch the